Scientists have discovered that 98% of human DNA serves no clear purpose, and somehow a tiny water flea has 11,000 more genes than you do. While our closest relatives still use the same stone tools they did thousands of years ago, humans went from cave paintings to smartphones in the blink of an evolutionary eye. Children today can operate complex digital devices without any instruction, as if their brains were already designed for technology that didn't exist when they were born. Your consciousness, creativity, and drive to build increasingly complex machines might not be the result of random evolution at all. What if everything that makes you uniquely human is actually the biological echo of a species that transcended biology long before you existed? Deep inside every human cell lies a puzzle that has confused scientists for decades. Your DNA contains over 3 billion letters of genetic code, twisted into tight spirals and packed into microscopic bundles. But here's what makes no sense: only 2% of all that code actually makes the proteins your body needs to survive. The other 98% just sits there doing nothing scientists can understand. For years, researchers called this extra DNA junk. They thought it was leftover garbage from millions of years of evolution. But new studies reveal something disturbing. Much of this so-called junk DNA isn't junk at all. Some pieces control when your genes turn on and off, like invisible switches hidden throughout your genetic code. Yet vast sections still serve no purpose anyone can identify. Even stranger, humans have fewer genes than creatures 1,000 times simpler than us. A tiny water flea swimming in pond scum has 31,000 genes. You have only 20,000. How can something as complex as a human being need fewer genetic instructions than a microscopic bug? It's like discovering that a supercomputer runs on less code than a pocket calculator. Scientists are beginning to wonder if our DNA might be the broken remnants of something far more complex that came before us. Human progress has exploded across time in a way that breaks every rule of natural development. Modern humans appeared just 300,000 years ago, a tiny blink in Earth's 4 billion year history. Yet in only the last 10,000 years, we rocketed from chipping stone tools around campfires to launching rockets that carry computers more powerful than entire buildings once held. This speed violates everything scientists know about how species change. Most creatures take millions of years to develop even small new abilities. The mighty elephant has used the same trunk the same way for over 5 million years. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, still crack nuts with the exact same stones their ancestors used 50,000 years ago. They haven't improved their tools by even a single step. But humans? We built the pyramids, invented writing, discovered electricity, and created the internet in less time than it takes most species to change the color of their fur. We learn faster, adapt quicker, and build more complex societies than any creature in Earth's history. Something about human development doesn't follow normal evolutionary rules. What invisible force accelerated our species so far beyond what natural selection should allow? Scientists are starting to wonder if we had help from something that came before us. Human consciousness stands alone in the natural world, like a lighthouse in an ocean of darkness. You don't just think about finding food or avoiding danger. You know that you're thinking. You can close your eyes and imagine purple elephants dancing on clouds that will never exist. You create paintings of sunsets you've never seen and write songs about feelings that have no names. No other creature on Earth shows this deep level of self-awareness. Dolphins are smart, chimpanzees use tools, elephants remember their dead. But none of them lie awake at night, wondering why they exist or what happens after death. They don't write poetry about love or build monuments to honor abstract ideas like freedom and justice. Scientists call this the hard problem of consciousness. Somehow, the 3 pounds of soft tissue inside your skull create a rich inner world filled with colors, sounds, memories, and dreams. How does a brain made of simple cells that send electrical signals produce the feeling of being you? How does chemistry become consciousness? Even our smartest computers can't truly understand what they're processing. They follow instructions without knowing they're following instructions. But you experience every moment of being alive with crystal clear awareness that something inside you is watching, thinking, and feeling everything that happens. Where did this impossible gift come from? Humans have a strange relationship with technology that sets us apart from every other creature on Earth. While a beaver builds the same simple dam his ancestors built for millions of years, humans can't stop creating increasingly complex machines. We build tools to make better tools, then use those tools to build even more advanced tools in an endless spiral of invention. This drive to create technology burns inside human nature like an unstoppable fire. Watch a 2-year-old child discover a smartphone for the first time. Without any teaching, tiny fingers swipe and tap across the screen, somehow understanding that pictures can move and sounds can appear from touching glass. These same children stack blocks into towers, use sticks as levers, and figure out how wheels make things roll easier. Even more puzzling, humans adapted to electricity with shocking speed. We discovered how to harness electrical power only 150 years ago, yet within decades, we were building power grids, electric motors, and communication networks. It happened so fast, it was as if our brains were already prepared for electronic technology. No other animal shows this natural understanding of complex systems. Chimpanzees can learn to use simple tools, but they never improve them or combine them into more complex machines. What gave humans this built-in drive to build increasingly sophisticated technology? Could this ability be inherited from predecessors who were far more advanced than we are today? This natural ability with digital devices seems impossible when you think about it. Human evolution took hundreds of thousands of years to develop. Smartphones have existed for less than 20 years. How could our brains already be perfectly designed for technology that didn't exist when our parents were born? Scientists studying children's brains have discovered something puzzling. Young minds process digital information almost as easily as they process the physical world around them. A 5-year-old can navigate through virtual game worlds, understand touchscreen interfaces, and communicate through video calls without any confusion. They switch between real and digital spaces like flipping a light switch. Even more mysterious, human brains seem naturally built for understanding symbols, networks, and electronic communication. We adapted to email, social media, and instant messaging faster than any species should adapt to completely new ways of sharing information. It's as if our minds were already prepared for a digital world that took thousands of years of human civilization to create. What designed our brains to work so well with technology we had never seen before? Humans have an unstoppable hunger for knowledge that makes no sense from a survival perspective. We build massive libraries filled with millions of books, create schools that teach children for 12 years or more, and spend entire lifetimes studying distant stars that will never affect our daily lives. We research ancient history, complex mathematics, and the behavior of creatures we'll never meet, pouring countless hours into learning things that don't help us find food or stay safe. This behavior is almost unknown in the animal kingdom. A lion learns to hunt, then stops learning new things. A bird learns to build its nest, then builds the same nest for the rest of its life. But humans never stop asking questions. We study the inside of atoms too small to see and galaxies too far away to reach. We dig up bones from creatures that died millions of years ago and spend decades figuring out how they lived. Even stranger, humans have powerful instincts for teaching. Parents don't just show children how to survive. They create complex lessons, tell detailed stories, and pass down knowledge that took generations to discover. We build universities, write textbooks, and develop elaborate systems of education that can take 20 years to complete. No other species invests so much time and energy in gathering and sharing knowledge that has no immediate practical use. This drive to learn and teach everything possible seems built into human nature at the deepest level. What kind of predecessor would need to preserve vast amounts of complex information across many generations? Human creativity explodes far beyond anything evolution would normally require for survival. We compose symphonies with hundreds of instruments playing together in perfect harmony. We paint detailed pictures of places that exist only in our imagination. We write 1,000-page stories about people who never lived, and millions of readers become emotionally attached to these fictional characters as if they were real friends. This creative drive serves no obvious purpose for staying alive. A bird's song attracts mates and marks territory, but humans create art simply because something inside us demands it. We spend enormous amounts of time and energy making music, paintings, sculptures, and stories that feed no one and shelter no one from storms. Other animals show tiny sparks of creativity, but nothing close to human levels. Some birds decorate their nests with colorful objects. A few primates can be taught to paint simple pictures, but no other creature writes epic poems, build soaring cathedrals, or choreographs elaborate dances that tell complex stories without words. This creative explosion appears built into human nature at the deepest level. Every human culture, no matter how isolated from others, develops art, music, and storytelling. Children start humming made-up songs and drawing imaginary creatures as soon as they can hold a crayon. The creative urge burns inside us like a flame that can never be put out. Why would evolution give us such powerful creative abilities that go so far beyond practical needs? Maybe these talents aren't products of natural selection, but inherited gifts from predecessors who use creativity for purposes we can't imagine. Human memory systems seem designed for storing and organizing far more information than most people ever encounter in their daily lives. You can remember thousands of faces from people you met just once. You recall the exact taste of your grandmother's cookies from 20 years ago and the feeling of your first day at a new school. Your brain can store countless facts, complex skills learned in childhood, and detailed maps of places you visited decades ago. Even more remarkable, you can imagine entire scenarios that never happened with perfect clarity. You can picture yourself walking through a house that doesn't exist, having conversations with people you've never met, and experiencing events that are completely made up. This ability to create and store imaginary memories seems far beyond what survival would require. Ancient humans developed memory techniques that appear almost superhuman by today's standards. They memorized entire epic poems containing thousands of lines of verse. They remembered complex navigation routes across vast continents without writing down a single direction. They stored detailed technical knowledge about toolmaking, plant medicine, and seasonal patterns purely in their minds. These incredible memory abilities suggest that human brains might have been designed for handling much larger amounts of information than we typically use today. It's like discovering that your phone has storage space for 1 million photos when you only take 10 pictures a year. What kind of predecessor would need such massive information storage and processing capabilities built into biological memory systems? Humans are naturally designed to work in complex social networks that span far beyond anything other animals can manage. You can keep track of relationships between hundreds of different people, remembering who is friends with whom, who works where, and how different groups connect to each other. You understand complicated social rules that change depending on the situation, and you can cooperate in large groups with complete strangers you've never met before. Your brain seems specially built for managing information networks. You're naturally good at routing the right information to the right people, organizing group projects that involve dozens of participants, and maintaining connections across vast distances with people you rarely see in person. You can understand how changes in one part of a social network will affect other parts, like ripples spreading across a pond. Modern social media and internet communication feel surprisingly natural to humans, even though these technologies didn't exist until recently. We adapted to global digital networks with remarkable speed for a species that supposedly evolved in small tribal groups of 30 to 50 people. Within just 20 years, billions of humans learned to navigate complex online social systems, share information instantly across continents, and coordinate activities with people they've never met face to face. Maybe our social networking abilities aren't designed for small tribal groups at all, but are remnants of a species that lived in much more complex, interconnected societies than anything humans have created so far. All these mysteries point to one startling possibility that changes everything we think we know about human origins. What if humans aren't just another evolved species that happened to get smart? What if we're the biological recreations of a previous intelligent species that have moved beyond the need for physical bodies entirely? This idea, called the post-biological predecessor hypothesis, suggests that an earlier version of intelligent life on Earth developed technology so advanced they could engineer biology itself. Before they disappeared into whatever form they became, they might have created us as living backups, biological libraries designed to carry the essential patterns of their consciousness, creativity, and capabilities. This would explain why humans have so many abilities that seem over-designed for our current way of life. Our advanced consciousness that ponders the meaning of existence, our unstoppable drive to build increasingly complex technology, our creative abilities that go far beyond survival needs, and our natural talent for managing complex information networks might all be simplified biological versions of capabilities our predecessors possessed in technological form. We might be walking archives, carrying the core patterns of a lost technological civilization in our genes and brains. Our drive to recreate technology and build complex societies could be programmed instincts, guiding us to slowly rediscover what our predecessors once knew. If this hypothesis is true, then human civilization isn't random evolution stumbling toward intelligence. It's the gradual reawakening of ancient knowledge encoded in biological form and patiently waiting to be remembered once again.